All right, testing. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Welcome to launch. My name is Kristen, and so I am the workspace director here at Catapult. Down in front, please, sir. Just kidding. You don't get to say that to your boss's boss very often, so we'll see how that plays out. Yep, I do have the mic. That's good. Okay, so as I was saying, welcome to launch. Thank you all for being here. This is one of my favorite events that we get to do here at Catapult, so I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about it before we get diving into the pitches. So number one, we're at Catapult, and I know a lot of you know what that is, but in case some of you don't, because I know we have some people here with us in person, we have some people joining online. We are basically an entrepreneur center here in Lakeland, and we're just trying to foster the growth of startups, you guys. There's a lot of good that happens in a community when you have a vibrant startup community, and so there's a lot of you in this room that we're trying to help grow your businesses, and so we're excited to be here. And one way we do that is through space. You may notice that some of you are in a space. This is our space, and we really like it a lot. We also have some educational programs, and then this little thing called funding. And so that is why we're here tonight, hopefully to give away some money. I think maybe some of you guys like money. If you've ever heard of it, it's a cool thing when you're starting a business to have some of it. So what we're gonna do is this is the whole process. We have 5 people that are pitching tonight. They're very exciting companies, diverse set of industries. You're gonna get to hear everything from plants to virtual reality to AI. You had to throw those 2 things in there because they're buzzwords and I feel like it sounds really cool. And so they're gonna get up here and pitch, but actually they've done a lot of work on the front end to even get to having this mic. Me, I just get it handed to me. I don't really have to do anything to get up here, but they've done a lot of work. So they've filled out an application. They've come to a pitch practice. They actually earlier today sat down in a room with these judges and had to answer questions about like financials and stuff, and that can be a little bit scary. So they've conquered a lot of challenges. They've made it here today, and they get to give you a pitch about their business. And so what they're pitching for is some type of asset that is going to grow their business directly. So that could be a wide variety of things, and I don't want to have any spoilers and tell you what they're pitching for. I got to keep you interested till the end of the night. But they're going to get up here and tell you a little bit about that. And you may be wondering, Kristen, it's really interesting. How do you get the money? And you may be looking at me and thinking like, it's definitely not coming from you. And that's accurate. I don't have a lot of money. So about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, some banks got together, local community banks here in Lakeland, and they just kind of were realizing that there's a gap in the market. So there's people who come to them for funding and loans, but may not quite qualify for them yet, but they still want to purchase an asset to grow their business. And so they came together to form the Launch Fund. You may recognize that name. And so basically, they give money to the fund every year to perpetuate it and keep it going. And they also then send a representative to judge to decide who ends up getting the money. So yes, these front seats were reserved. I'm sorry you couldn't sit in them. It's because you're not giving money to the fund, but they are. And so we're really excited that they're here. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. And so just to kick us off, will you guys tell us your names and who you are, where you're from?
Me? I'm Sean Irwin from Wells Fargo.
Woohoo, yeah.
I'm Rob McCollum with SunTrust BB&T, now Truist.
It's a lot of things, yeah, go ahead.
Todd Bayless from QGive, and we are not a bank.
Hi, I'm Stacy Gerhardt. I own a local business, Advocare, here in Lakeland.
Thank you. Okay, so as you may have noted, those were not all bank representatives. And so what we do with the panel of judges is we also put in some entrepreneurs just to kind of mix it up a little bit because it's a little more fun. Not that you guys aren't fun. That came across wrong, sorry. You're very fun. So that's a little bit about launch. That's why we're here tonight. And I don't want to keep you too long other than I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the agenda. So once I'm done rambling, we'll have our first pitcher come up here. And so they each get about 10 minutes. And that is for all of the companies, but we also have one student company. The student company will be last. They're pitching for $2,500 and they're a little bit earlier stage. And so just to help you differentiate between those, but they're going to pitch, and then there's going to be 10 minutes for Q&A. I know that you guys are going to have a lot of questions. Hang on to those. Write them down. If you're smart enough to remember them, and pat yourself on the back for being smart enough to remember them. There will be a time for you guys to ask Q&A after all the pitches are done. The judges will leave the room to deliberate, and then all the pitchers will come up here, they'll sit up here and answer any and all questions that you have. A good question to ask, just throwing it out there, is like, how can the community support your business? That's always a fun one. But also you can come up with your own. So I'm looking at Christina to make sure there's nothing I forgot to say. So that's exciting. Last time I forgot something, but I must have remembered it this time. And so without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first presenter. His name is Root Patel, and he's with Voyager Industries, and he's probably the best dressed one in the building every day. Come on up, Root.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. In 2017, Hurricane Irma destroyed thousands of structures. It destroyed a lot of buildings, a lot of power line, a lot of assets. It even affected Catapult. It left thousands of people without food, electricity, and roof above their head. In just last 10 years in California, 10 million acres have been burned. 10 million, that's a lot of acre and land just went to waste. Many cities burned, thousands of people are died. Recently, we had snowstorm in Texas, and we all know how that went. It left 5 million people without electricity. And they're all natural disaster. It happens all the time. It's been happening for centuries. It's been happening all around the world since the beginning of the time. It's nothing new about it, but they are getting worse. But every time there is a disaster or a problem or something like that, it does something to us. It brings all of us together. If you see, after the hurricane, we have hurricane parties. People get together and they enjoy, and some people don't get to enjoy it. Some people get to work on the solution. And I think one is very fortunate to, if you have the opportunity to just work on one of the solutions for the problem, that opportunity is worth it. And I've been very fortunate enough to have not one, but 3 opportunities to serve in natural disasters. My name is Root Patel, and I am the president of Voyager Industries. We are an engineering company that provides industrial inspection services using drones and artificial intelligence. I started this company with a mission to create solutions that protect our planet and serve our community. That's why we work in energy, agriculture, and infrastructure. Growing up in India, we didn't have a lot of resources, and we had to think. It pushes us to think outside the box and be more resourceful in trying to come up with solutions. When I came to America in 2015, when I turned 19, I got very lucky that I got to come to America, and I started seeing all these opportunities I could create for myself, and I wanted to start the business. So I worked 2 years very hard to save money to start a business, and I founded my company. These are the 3 disasters we got to work in. We did a lot more work, but these are the main work that I'm really proud of to show you. One is the hurricane, fire, and the snowstorm. So in 2017, using drones, after the Hurricane Irma, we inspected 1,000 assets with electrical company, roofing company, construction company, and many insurance companies. So to make sure people have good roof above their head, it's not leaking, make sure people have electricity in their house. It could have taken years to collect that kind of data and understand how we can prevent it from that happening. We did it in only a few months. In 2018, Pennsylvania got hit by a snowstorm very hard that we don't know about, but it took down power in many cities for an entire week, and it was terrible. So we were hired to do the LiDAR inspection for 1,300 miles. So where we fly the drones using LiDAR technology, we can see through the tree's canopy, and we can predict from the weight of the snow when the tree is going to hit the line. And if we know when it's going to hit the line, we can prevent it. In 2019 and 2020, I got to work in my life-changing contract. We inspected 13,000 of poles, me and my entire team, and after inspecting all those towers, we found what was wrong with them, and we prevented 11 fires. In 2021, every year is a different thing. 2021, I got to work on really cool thing, helping school board, trying to understand how the traffic moves next to their school so we can reduce the amount of pedestrian accident. Each year, 6,700 people die in pedestrian-related accidents, and it's a big problem, and it needs to be solved. So here is a solution that we created using drones and artificial intelligence to monitor the traffic in real time. So you get the data like how fast is the car moving, how many cars pass in certain time, how often they brake, how do they change lanes. Very smart data, and it could save a lot of life if we know how to understand the data and use it properly. But after solving so many problems in energy, agriculture, and infrastructure industries, we are not stopping there. There are a lot of more problems needs to be solved, and one of the big problems right now is the air pollution. We all know it's getting very hard to breathe every single day. Every day it's like air pollution is adding up each day. So, and there is another problem, gas leak, that we don't ever talk about, or media don't ever talk about. So we don't know how often we have gas leak, and they could start a lot of fires, kill a lot of people. Thousands of people die each year just because of the gas leak that they didn't know was going to happen. With today's grant money, I'll have the opportunity to purchase a gas detector. The price for the gas detector is $17,000, but I can cover the rest of whatever's left after the grant. But using this gas detector can help us expand into environmental and oil and gas industry. This detector can find toxic gas leaks, and air pollution. So basically, we can make our cities a lot cleaner and prevent a lot of gas leak from happening. It's going to help us expand in oil and gas industry, and we already have contract with the energy company that we worked previously, so it will be a lot easier for us to just go back to them and pitch the idea of inspecting their pipeline to find gas leak. We're going to be mounting this gas detector on a drone because you can send the drone out to the places where human cannot go, or cars cannot go, or the planes cannot go. That's why the drone is the best solution. Using this device and getting more contracts going to help us increase 15% in just 3 months, and 25% will be paid back by March 2023. And this grant is going to allow me to create 2 jobs. One is the environmental specialist, and one is a data analyst. And we all going to be hiring them in Lakeland. So creating 2 jobs for Lakeland. Thank you.
So we talked a little bit about the sensor in there.
Yes.
And as you were showing this, so the 17,000 is for the sensor. Does that come with the app, the program that's going to run it, and
yes, it's a whole
read the
package.
data and all that?
It's a whole package. They come with the whole package, and every month there is a subscription fee, but which is not very high.
And what kind of gas is it reading?
It detects up to 14 different gas. The biggest one right now is the methane gas. That's the most dangerous right now that we can find. And using the data, we can use that data to train the AI model. So first we collect the data, understand how the gas leaks are happening, how often, what's the parts per million of that particular gas in the air, and using the data, we can do prediction.
How are these companies solving the problem now, and what is your kind of competition, both alternatives and people that are looking to do what you're doing? Yeah, it's a great question. Companies are using helicopters and plane right now, and the human, and they started using those spot robots that Boston Dynamics created, but they did not allow them to get that kind of, because on the ground, the pollution level is a lot higher, and if you use plane, it's
very high. So you don't get the accurate data, but using drones, you can fly at any heights, any places. You can fly over landfills. You cannot send a robot there, or it'll be a lot longer and a lot expensive, but using drones, you can get there very quickly. So there is no direct competition, but there are some engineering companies who do this kind of work along with other things.
So for a project to assess, I don't know, a pipeline or something, is it one drone with this one detector doing the whole project? Correct.
So we're going to be mounting this device on a drone, not this drone, this is just for the show. It's going to be on the much bigger drone that doesn't fit on this table, but we're going to mount that on the drone, yes.
How do you ultimately scale it up and cover more ground, right? Because one drone, one pilot,
Yes.
if you will. How do you make it
So
much bigger? And cover?
Yeah. So the very first thing we do, we collect the data and understand it. So first we use it for study. For first 2 weeks or up to a whole month, we use it just to collect the data, understand and study the data. And after we have the data, we can approach, and depending on the project size, we can scale it depending on the project. But it's good to start with just one.
And then what's your plan once you have it? How are you going to get business? I mean, how are you going to approach these companies?
Yeah, so I already have a contract with few electrical companies who also have oil, and they could use the services, so it'd be much easier to go back to them. I have already set up a meeting with Mosaic's engineering team in 1 week, so we'll be discussing that. And once I get the real life experience, what they actually need, we can strategize and see how we can approach different companies.
So following this grant, where do you see the company in 3 to 5 years? Kind of knowing that you've had some great success early on, what do you think is the next place that you want to tackle?
I just want to solve more problems in oil and gas industry and create solutions that protect our planet. So it is definitely going to increase the revenue, is going to hire a lot, create a lot of opportunities for people, and also expand us to growing. I don't have the exact number of exactly we're going to be, but I know we're going to be a lot further than we are right now. Awesome, thank you.
Fun fact about Root, we do a podcast here at Catapult, and I will plug it anytime I get, trying to bump that listener number from 50 to 51. But basically, we did one with Root, and it was talking about getting new customers. And a fun story that I'm going to steal of his is that sometimes he'll just send somebody at a company one shoe, so if you ever get a shoe in the mail, it might be from Root, and it's still weird. But then he says, now that I have one foot in the door, how about you let me get another one and we can meet and talk about it. So there you go. Start mailing some shoes, people. It's the way to go. You get some big clients. All right, next up, we are going to transition. Has anybody here, maybe tonight, maybe another time, ever tried Crazy Kombucha? Okay, good. I don't know if I need to say anything else then, Wendy. They're ready for you. They love you already. So we're going to bring up Wendy and AJ from Crazy Kombucha.
Hello. Our company is Crazy Kombucha. Hello. My name's Wendy Johnson. I'm a third generation Lakelander. My family's been here 100 years. I'm also married. I have 3 sons, 2 of which are serving in the Marine Corps. I miss them. I also have a young son. My youngest son is a junior at Jenkins and going to be a lifeguard this summer. I am also a nurse. I've been a nurse for 24 years. My first job was at Lakeland Regional it was a med surge floor, also gastrointestinal floor. So that was where I kind of began my journey here. I also, throughout the years of raising my kids, I also worked in acupuncture as well as chiropractic care. And about 7 years ago, I found my passion in holistic nutrition. I became certified in holistic nutrition and found my passion in that and wellness. I was also a runner through those years and was doing a lot of training and having tendinitis. And about 11 years ago to this month, I walked into her body sculpting class at Kelly Rec.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Wendy. I'm Amy Jackson. I am originally from Georgia. I came down to Lakeland to play softball at Florida Southern, and I absolutely fell in love with Lakeland. From there, I stayed. I got a job with the city of Lakeland. I've been there for over 25 years. And in the meantime, they've asked me, or pretty much made me, teach 15 fitness classes a week. So my passion is fitness. And like Wendy was saying, we were doing a lot of training, especially outside of the gym, long distance running, and we were experiencing a lot of gut health.
Okay, here we go. So who's had indigestion, acid reflux?
Gas, diarrhea, bloating, anxiety.
More chronic issues, IBS, Crohn's, even leaky gut. You know, you're hearing these names. Our problem is gut and digestive health. There's a survey out, 74% of Americans are living with some sort of uncomfortable digestive issue. We talked about some of those symptoms, and the causes are stress, whether it's work, emotional, overtraining, like we talked about, food intolerances, toxin exposure, and overuse of antibiotics. There's many facets to why you might have those symptoms. And it's due to a depletion of good bacteria in the gut biome. So our solution is our kombucha.
Our kombucha is a fermented tea that contains a live probiotic. Drinking a raw fermented tea on a regular basis can help build a strong gut dome. What we do at the market each week is we kind of tell people that it helps with boosting your immune system, it helps with digestion, detox, joint inflammation, and just builds a better, stronger gut period. And it pairs well with wine, spirits, and beers. That's my selling point at the market.
So building a stronger gut biome and boosting the immune system just by drinking a live tea with a probiotic. So some of our milestones in the last 3 years, we purchased the business and reestablished it in 2017. It was actually created by someone else, and it was out of business for about a year. We were customers, and we're like, we need this. And so we then had the opportunity to buy it. We then came to Catapult because I'm a nurse and I don't know how to run a business. And so in 2018, we became members of the kitchen. We launched into our current kitchen space that we share now in 2019. And we, of course, started adding wholesale accounts to certain businesses throughout Lakeland and some in Tampa that carry our kombucha. And last month, we just leased a space that we are going to open Lakeland's local kombucha brewery. And these are some of our wholesale accounts we manage.
Sales. We sell one day a week at the Lakeland Farmers Market, and we depend on that. We also have wholesale accounts, and our marketing is basically satisfied customer word of mouth, Facebook and Instagram. And Fox 13 did a really great segment on us that airs quite often, and we get a lot of following through that.
And several articles, so thank you for those. So our company currently has one full-time employee, that would be me, and AJ is a part-time employee. Some of the hindrances we've had in the last 3 years, of course, production space, we're about to fix that, and we're so excited about that. And of course, our product, it has some sensitivities to whether temperature, possible contamination, and air quality, and things that shut us down.
Inclement weather. Like I said, we serve one day a week at the Lakeland Farmers Market. If it's raining, if it's cold, if the market is shut down due to a hurricane or COVID, we don't have any place to fill. So COVID has taught us that we need to have a storefront so we can serve our customers directly. And we also want Lakeland to know that we're here, get a better local following.
So we're asking for the $10,000 micro grant to install a 16 to 20 tap line in the side of our CoolBot. Of course, this picture of here is just kind of an idea, but very much it's going to be a small space because our space is about 1,000 square feet right now that we've leased. We also, of course, need the countertop. We're going to be able to serve our customers more efficiently and quickly, and also add to our fleet of kegs. We'd like to add of course, more wholesale accounts, so we'll need more kegs. And we would like to get kegerators as well, because we would like to be able to get our product into some wholesale accounts that maybe they don't have the equipment. So we could put a kegerator in an office or any of those spaces. We also, the micro grant, it'll help us build out the retail space for our returning and new customers. They can buy directly from us throughout the week, not just the one day a week. Once we open, we project sales to increase about $2,000 a month immediately. That's separately from our market and our current customers that buy wholesale. The brewery will be our production space and our retail space, and it'll be 4 times larger than what we currently produce in. So we're very excited about that. And in the next year, we want to open. We're in permit kind of purgatory right now, and establish a customer base in Dixieland. The space will also allow for production of other ferments. That's what we want to do in the next year, and other foods and beverages, as well as tours and education. And we want to hire more employees, at least 2 part-time. And
25%. We would budget to repay the 25% of the microgrant fund to help more small businesses like us. Please enjoy our local crazy kombucha we brought for you tonight in the front, and enjoy this video. Okay, going back. Double click. It was a double click.
Lakeland, where a small kombucha company is on a mission to spread the health benefits of their fizzy fermented tea.
And photojournalist Corey Beckman introduces us to the team behind Crazy Kombucha.
my company is Crazy Kombucha, or crazy with a K, you know, it's extra crazy, but kombucha is crazy in all of the health benefits. Kombucha is a fermented tea. It contains a live probiotic, so it's really good for gut health. 18 flavors now. Today, we are actually going to be working on our holiday flavors. So we're working on a pumpkin pie kombucha. Our tanks are all glass contained. Each tank holds about 30 gallons. You're going to see a large mother SCOBY on the top, and you can see each of her layers. A SCOBY is a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, and that is what is so beneficial to the gut biome. I feel like my whole background has led me to this point because of working as a nurse and seeing I care for sick people. I mean, it's something that I'm very passionate about. I kind of went into holistic nutrition and found my passion. That's where I first heard about fermentation and fermented teas that, of course, makes kombucha. In the beginning, it was about how it helped me, and then I shared it with those that I cared about. When it helped all of us, I was like, I want to share this with our community. We have actually been selling at our local market downtown on Kentucky, and we have since branched off at the first of the year into Winter Haven Market. And then we have a couple, about 6 locations that carry our kombucha as well. Per cup at the markets, but they also fill growlers. We have 32-ounce growlers as well as 64-ounce growlers. Our customers that come back every week to fill up, they have so many stories of what has changed for them. We know every drop in someone's belly is benefiting them. If you are having gut issues, indigestion, acid reflux, you might want to give it a try. It's very simple that can help a lot of those things. All right, thank you. Questions?
So how long does it take to, you make it a keg at a time?
So we can actually do a batch, is what we call a batch. It's 30 gallons, or a barrel. It's kind of in the beer industry. So it's 30 gallons, and then that makes about 6 kegs. 5-gallon kegs.
And how long does it take to make that?
To get it to the point where we serve it on Saturday is a good 5 to 6 weeks. We like it in cold storage for a couple weeks. It gets super fizzy and bubbly and yummy that way. Because that's we do 3 ferments to get as much of the sugar out as we can, and that's just the stages.
And we think with the whether it be the grant money or outside that, is there a way to probably not speed it up, but maybe do more at a time?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's definitely what we're going to expand more tanks in our new location to be able to do more quickly, and it's definitely organization to keep them going.
We talked about this before, but kudos. You had a great 2020 despite the pandemic.
Thank you.
Anything you want to share that you took away from that? Because I think that's a really great lesson for everyone else who's a young entrepreneur that, obviously you were able to see that growth during the pandemic.
Do you want to take it? Well, we definitely, like we had said about COVID, we have wonderful customers. And when the market shut down, everybody's like, where are you? Where are you going to be? And we're like, and we were able to we were luckily in our kitchen, they had a walk-up window, and that's what kept us alive. And immediately we have to have our own place because, we live in Florida, hurricanes, bad weather, but we've done it for 3 years, and we have been shut down a few times. And so that's definitely what we learned through this past year is to hang on. And our customers actually came out and found us and wanted it. So thank you.
Yeah, I do want to applaud you for taking the risk of kind of going out and expanding your availability of the product, right? Because that's not an easy decision to go through. And so my only question is more selfish. When are y'all opening?
Yeah, we're saying April. We're hoping April. But like I said, we're still just nail biting the permits. But I think it'll move pretty quick as soon as we get those. So April. Fingers crossed.
Awesome.
I'd like to know more about the marketing. I live on the south side of Lakeland, so I don't always hear what's going on downtown. I've heard of Crazy Kombucha, but I didn't really know all that much about it. How do you spread the word to all of us that want to come and see you? How do you get beyond just the downtown market?
Well, that is definitely part of one of our hindrances. We know that there are so many here in Lakeland that they don't even know that we exist and that we're here locally. So we definitely want to work on marketing. It's definitely not either one of our strong suits, but it has been word of mouth and people sharing it. The only south location, which we're hoping to work on to get something more south is, Cafe Zupina has pre-filleds, but we want to.
I would appreciate you coming a little.
Come a little bit, yes. We want to be there. We're going to work on that. So we do want to work on more wholesales in that, having locations. If people can't get to the market on Saturday, there's going to be those other locations they can fill. And us too, where we are now when we open. So we definitely have to work on marketing. We know that to get the word out there.
I know there's a lot of food, drink, snack places that are shipping nationwide, worldwide now, in refrigerated boxing, et cetera. Is this something you could ship, and is there any plans on growing into that market?
So we have met with some people about that, just kind of brainstorming, how can we do that? Because we are a little bit afraid to, the weight of glass and keeping it cold, but we knew that was an option. It's something we're definitely going to research. And we were hoping that maybe we could put it in, bags or cartons. We're up for any ideas because that is the main question we get is, do you ship it? And especially once Fox 13, people are like, can you ship this to Tennessee? And I'm like, not yet. Hang with us. We'll work on that. So yes, in the future, we want to do that.
What do you see as your next biggest challenge once you kind of get open and expand the availability? What's your next bottleneck? What's your next kind of biggest challenge you see?
I will say, because going off of her question about marketing, is people knowing where we're at. So again, that's going to be a big marketing people to know where we are. And not only they can find us, we're staying at the market because we love the market, so we will stay there, but just trying to get the word out and grow that local Dixieland location. So that's all right.
All right. I don't know about you guys, but I am equally excited to drink kombucha, and I also never want to see a picture of a mother SCOBY again in my entire life. So both of those things are true after that presentation. Also, speaking of marketing, here's a lot of people in a room that now definitely know more about Crazy Kombucha. So, I mean, I'm not going to make you, but like go try it at the market this Saturday or else. So there you go. All right. Next, we have the trio squad of Paragon. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring them on up. And by them, I mean just one of them, apparently. All right, here you go. Trade you.
Good afternoon, how are you? I'm not that guy. He's coming up shortly. My name's Jeremy Wharton, I'm with Paragon USA. Our company is based on virtual reality training. So, let's see, here we go. So our goal at Paragon is very simple. We want to reduce workplace injuries, save lives, be able to try to reduce the cost of workplace injuries as they occur, whether it be with the insurance companies, whatever that looks like from a cost perspective. By the time the sun sets today on the California coast, 15 people would have died statistically in the United States just because they went to work. They got up this morning, they went to work to serve their families, not that they were necessarily in a dangerous job per se, but they were just going to earn a living. Do the same thing that most of us probably did as we woke up today to go to work. Our idea is to be able to take this number and change it. Change the fact that people can actually go to work, support their families in such a way, and come home in the best condition, the same condition, if not better, than what they showed up that morning. How many times have you ever heard of an accident in a workplace or something that happened? Maybe it's just an accident on the street. And it's easy to sit back after the fact and say, what happened? What went wrong? Oftentimes, whenever regulators look at these situations in a workplace, they're going to look at training as one of the number one key factors, the gap, if you will, that occurred between the person involved in that incident and just one lapse of judgment, maybe those things that lined up wrong that one particular day. I'll share a quick story with you. A dear friend of mine that I became acquainted with as part of the industry that I've worked in for over 10 years now, he's the safety manager of his company. His role is the 200 and some odd lives that report every single day with that insignia on their shirt. His son was one of those 200 and some odd employees working at a job site very similar that you see out here at the Summit building, right outside of this one. His job was to tie in some different electrical components as they were building this high rise in a particular facility, and he should have been tied off. He was approximately 80 feet in the air at the time. He went to cross over outside of a handrail area into the second area. At the time, he didn't find value in that harness that he was wearing. He wasn't tied off. He chose to climb over top and try to go just from here to there. That one choice and that one time lined up wrong for him that day. Unfortunately, this gentleman fell 80 feet, 8 floors to his death. Was it a training issue? Was it a training issue of being able to show him to find the value in what we were telling him to do? He was wearing the harness. Where was the disconnect in that moment? The idea behind Paragon is for us to be able to put people in environments that otherwise you may not normally have been in. If I was going to hire an employee today and I was going to put you on top of this building over here, I want to be able to put you in that environment and understand how are you going to react in that situation, tell you the do's and don'ts. Why is it important that I'm asking you to do what I'm asking you to do? What could go wrong if you don't do that? And what does that look like? Rather than just take you up to the top of the building next door and say, all right, hang out over the top and see what this feels like. Don't do that anymore. We can actually put you in an immersive environment where we can introduce you to a number of hazards, a number of different things that may go on with that workplace, and put you in that environment, put that emotional touch, that emotional tie to what it looks like whenever you're actually doing the work that we're asking you to do. Put you in that space and be able to have a better retention for what we're actually asking of you. Typical retention, if somebody's really good at what they're doing whenever they're in front of you and they're speaking, I may expect 20 minutes worth of retention once you leave this building tonight. In an immersive environment, we could expect up to a year for that environment to still have some sort of a lasting effect of whatever it was that we would have taught you during that experience. Traditional training is very passive. You hope that you've got a decent presenter at the moment, that they can keep engaged with you for whatever period of time that I've got you in that moment. Whenever I'm in that immersive environment, I can actually put you in it, get that emotional response to what you're seeing and what you're doing. Hours of training, we've all been part of those sessions where it's like, great, today's that day. Now we're going to have to sit here for the next 8 hours and try to learn whatever it is that I'm asking you to learn. I can take those hours and make them into minutes. If I can take that emotional response, I can put you in that environment, I can get you to respond to what's going on and interact with what the environment is around you, then I can take minutes and create those memorable environments instead of waiting hours for you to say, is this over yet? Forgettable. If you aren't tied to what's going on, if it's like, man, here we go again, this is what we got to sit through because they make us, right? They made us do this. Then ultimately you're not going to remember anything. But if I can put you in an environment, if I can make it so that it's interactive, fun, kind of a learning piece, then you can remember what's going on. I think most people would agree that the more that we can be hands-on with something, the more that I can engage with whatever I'm doing, the more that I'm going to get as a response and an actual memory of what I'm doing. And that's the idea behind this environment, is to put you in it. In the end, we can actually take data from what you've done, the interactions you've had with those environments, and actually take that data and say, this is truly what we've learned, rather than just trying to hope to give you a quiz or a test at the end. So I want to introduce Chase in this video and give you kind of a taste of what we have to offer.
Cool, so here we are, we're gonna head up. Like I said, this is probably one of the more dangerous areas on the plant, simply because the chemicals that could be released, just the low-hanging stuff. So we're gonna see it all when we get in there and capture it the best we can. It smells like your nostrils are kind of burning. It's intense.
All right. Good evening, Catapult. How y'all doing? And judges, thank you guys for being here. All you great guests, those of you in person and online.
Here we are, we're gonna head up. Like I said, this is probably
I don't want to watch that again. Let's keep going.
On the
All right, my name is Chase Selmeyer. I'm one of the founding partners of Paragon USA. And about 8 months ago to this day, I was on a road trip, middle of COVID, middle of riots, everything. Had to get out of town, get my head kind of straight. I think everybody wanted to do that, right? And I was traveling around the US. I went up the East Coast for 30 days with my dog Max and was focusing on what kind of business I wanted to be in when I got back. How could I help people? What could I do? I was in Virginia Beach with a good friend of mine, and he works in staffing for a naval shipyards. And he said, Chase, my biggest problem is these people come in every day. I get hundreds of new contractors every day, day in, day out. And they don't know what the heck they're doing half the time. And I think the training they're getting is good, but we just haven't really figured a way out to show them what that work environment was like before they actually had a chance to get out there. So with the idea in head, dog in the truck, dressed in board shorts, I hauled back to Florida, ran to my good buddy Mike Woodhouse over here and his partner Jeremy. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna bring my expertise of years of marketing, video production, 360 content generation. I'm gonna partner with somebody that has a foot in a door, a very big door that is, in safety training. And that's what we did. We created Paragon. Right here, this image on the screen, we are in a phosphate mine. Has anybody been in a phosphate mine in their life in here? We have a couple of people? Okay. I don't have a very hazardous work environment, I would say. I'm a photographer, videographer, marketer. I spend most of my time behind computer editing or at a networking event, drinking, or maybe at the beach, photoing models. Like, that's not hazard. When you walk into one of these plants, it is overwhelming beyond all belief. The smell burns your nostrils, your eyes are watering, you're sweating, it's hot. And on top of that, you can't hear a damn thing because it's so loud. You might have 2 pairs of headphones on and you're just screaming to see the other guy. So in this environment here, where we're standing actually, where this photo is actually within a 360, is right in front of one of the most dangerous parts in the plant. There's dry product coming through here, acid, all this kind of stuff. And an individual actually lost his eyesight by standing in the wrong place, the wrong time. Now, my grandpa used to always say, you can't fix stupid, But I think with a little bit of good training and emergent technology, my goal is to embed these actionable, memorable moments into the psyche. So when employees on site for the first time, after going through one of our trainings, they go, oh, yes, maybe I should strap in. I should take advantage of this harness. And that's where we go with this. All these items here can be clicked on. You can actually have somebody in your ear talking to you. You can watch a video. You can take a quiz, take a test. Where we're going to spend the money from the funds today is, I don't want to be in debt to nobody, so we're going to go ahead and give that $2,500 back immediately. But the rest of that money is going to be spent towards equipment. And this gear is a camera that can help us start shooting virtual content immediately and adding that to our library. On top of that, we'll be able to pass that savings on to our clients. In addition, the final piece of the puzzle for our company that really hit the growth stage is in the custom LMS development. We need some custom code to start developing to put our virtual tours into computer-based programming and learning management software. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time and energy. And if you guys are in the business and want to save lives and create better training, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my partners here, and we'd love to field some of your questions. Thank you.
So, obviously there's a lot of training, companies out there and a lot of companies that need training. So why you? I mean, is anybody else using the virtual reality approach? Is it unique to you?
So overseas, it's being used quite often. If you look on YouTube at all, for any of this type of content, you're going to see it a lot overseas, especially in the European Union. In the United States, it's not that it's not being used as much, but what makes us unique is the fact that we can actually bring the subject matter experts in. Generally you're going to get the tech side or you're going to get the subject matter expert side, and you're not typically going to get both sides. And that's what makes us unique in that sense. So from a competition standpoint, although you could get another tech company to possibly shoot some of this similar type footage, won't have the same perspective or same understanding as to why that footage is important. And so from that perspective, it makes us more marketable, and it's a cost savings to the customers to not have to necessarily babysit or point in a direction every step of the way what the process would look like.
If I could add to that just a smidge, is that with the platform we're trying to develop, and we talked about this a little bit in the closed door session, but if we could package these elements and these lessons into our own system or LMS backend, then we can then sell that or resell that to different training companies across the nation, and hopefully giving them better material to help them do their jobs better.
One other thing, when we were in a project that we've been working on currently, one of the comments whenever they went out to the marketplace worldwide and truly tried to find whatever they could get their hands on as far as comparables, you'll see a lot of gamified systems that'll come up. So you put a headset on, it reacts very similarly as it would with our system. The difference is we're actually in those facilities. Those are really those dangers. When you put the headset on for some of these other products, it looks like you're in a video game. And although you can do a lot of neat things in that, and it has its place in certain scenarios, they found that it wasn't applicable and relatable to their folks. And so they didn't like it for that reason.
So every individual training for a company would be shot at one of their facilities, but they're actually, so this couldn't be cookie cutter. You couldn't use this for another company.
So it could be both ways, right? So if a company does want to say, look, we want it in our place, we want to see it with our things in the background, then yes, we absolutely obviously have done that. But if it was something, for instance, you were going to do fire extinguisher training, right? That could be a very generic topic. And so you could do it in more of a generic setting, or even in a setting like this, and then be able to use it more to the public beyond that. And so there are ways to kind of white label certain trainings, and while we're there, we can gain footage for the library that Chase was speaking about.
So you kind of mentioned a little bit of kind of scenario training and that sort of stuff. Talk us through a little bit about what that kind of eventually becomes, or what you're looking to do with that, or how this might solve that problem.
So the nice thing about the scenario-based training is we're actually able to create things within the real environments that didn't actually happen. There's actually somebody in the room that helped with one of our sections in here where we had a chemical release, and it was a little bit of a blurb on the video with that. And it's kind of an if-then type scenario. So in that scenario is that sulfuric acid had burst from a pipe, and then kind of what would you do from there? In real to life, that's what it would look like. And so being able to put people in scenarios that would not be safe, although the environment itself should be safe. And being able to kind of create certain things and like that. A lot of the scenarios too that you'll see when people drill, like companies drill out certain situations, they literally whiteboard it. You'll whiteboard a scenario and say, okay, we had this event happen, what do we do? And then everyone starts flipping through their binders of what the policy is that we should do based on the whiteboard. This allows you to put people in that environment and actually have that event happen.
Got it. So it's a video. It's kind of a video that's been overlaid with that. It's not augmented reality where you're walking the site. It's done kind of at a training facility, if that makes sense.
It could be either video, also the stills as well, the 360 stills, where we're able to actually grab out different elements there as well.
And then you'd be selling to the company a library of training videos for them to use go forward.
So there's kind of a variety of ways. Again, it's more project specific to how they, what's the end goal. We're engaged with a customer right now that we're taking a topic at a time at their choosing. And we're building out the library that they're asking for. And we're also having to integrate some of their LMS systems and some of the quizzes and some of the metrics that they want to see. On the side of that, while we're out shooting that content, while we're out developing that white label piece, we're able to build out our own library as well in a more generic fashion to then be able to market and use that moving forward. So it's kind of multifaceted, letting some of these bigger projects fund the library and build that out.
Thank you.
And is the footage or the training exclusive to that company, or you get them to sign off and say, I can use this for other people as well, or do they own it?
It depends what it is. So if it's got their name, if it's exclusive to them, and there's those situations that's going to become that scenario, and there's some that it's not. It just depends on what it is. If it's proprietary, certainly it would stay within. And a lot of these companies too, they have rules that are extremely stringent to even be able to bring out your camera phone, much less this, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's good. Okay, I was, as you guys can probably tell by now, I listened to pretty much every pitch to figure out what the joke is that I'm going to tell in between. And the one I gathered from that one, this one's good. This one works. The one I got from that one is like, they're like, oh, it's so terrible that people only retain 20% of what somebody tells them. And I'm like, yes, most of the time, but not when you're me up here right now. I'm like, thank God no one's remembering any more of what I'm saying. So that's comforting for me. And I hope it is for you guys that this is not going to be stuck in your brain any more than it has to be. So looking at who's next, we've got Brittany, and as she's bringing up her plans, when I emailed her to tell her that she made it, she was a finalist, was very, probably my favorite response I got, no offense, everybody else. She said, we are so excited. And of course that was SOW. So it was perfect. And I loved everything about that pun. So here is Brittany with So Exotic.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to be a part of this amazing program. Thank you, Catapult, and thank you for listening to me. My name is Brittany Bandy. This guy up here is my husband, Jared Craig, husband and business partner. We actually met at the downtown Lakeland Farmers Market where he had a booth selling garden seeds. That was in the spring of 2014. Our shared desire to make the world a greener place is really what brought us together. Our company, So Exotic, is an online plant nursery that grows and ships live edible plants nationwide. Here's an example of some of our products on the left and one of our greenhouses and nursery assistants on the right. Our business model is e-commerce, direct to consumer, with nationwide plastic-free shipping. We sell online to gardeners and plant lovers in all 50 states and US territories, and our largest markets are Florida, California, and Texas. So Exotic is a one-stop shop for everything your garden needs to thrive, from planting to harvest. We specialize in tropical fruit trees, medicinal herbs, and edible, culturally significant plants from around the world. We grow all of our plants using our own organic soil blend and natural sustainable growing practices. We educate gardeners about plant care with growing guides for all of our plants, as well as seasonal care guides to help you grow your best all year round. And we're working on a master class on how to cultivate your own edible landscape. We also offer a growing collection of garden tools and organic fertilizers. As the orders come in from our online store, soexotic.com, the plants are picked from our greenhouses and repotted in 100% plantable pots. They're then brought into our fulfillment center where orders are assembled and quickly packed and shipped daily via USPS priority mail. Our eco-friendly packing materials are 100% compostable, biodegradable, and recyclable. And our plants ship in plantable pots made from natural materials that can be planted directly in the soil, eliminating plastic waste across the board. Here's an example of one of our plants in a plantable pot made out of coconut core. This can go right in the soil, in the ground, or in a new pot. Here you can see the fulfillment center that we developed on the left and some of the packages being picked up from USPS on the right. Jared and I launched So Exotic on Earth Day in 2016 with only 25 different plant varieties. We grew everything in the small glass greenhouse that we built from reclaimed sliding glass doors. We were both still working full-time for the first few years, investing every spare moment and dollar into building the plant nursery and business of our dreams. But we quickly outgrew that glass house and kept on growing into larger greenhouses and larger production spaces, allowing us to host more in-person plant sales and offer educational tours of our 2-acre bio-intensive food forest. Today, we offer over 340 varieties of live edible plants, adding new ones almost every week. And we've shipped over 40,000 plants to date. We now have 4 commercial greenhouses and are in the process of building our 5th. We've given tours of our edible landscape to hundreds of local gardeners and have helped many people around the country start growing their own food. We now run So Exotic full-time and are in the growth stage of generating revenue, refining our products and collections, and building our amazing plant team. Some of the challenges that we face are keeping up with growing demand, production speed, and available inventory. Also, labor costs for time spent filling pots and fertilizing the greenhouse, as well as self-financing through cash flow. With this grant, we will purchase a soil batch mixer and dispenser to help solve those challenges. This amazing machine mixes high volumes of soil while automatically incorporating essential plant nutrients into the soil, and then automatically dispenses the soil mix into the pots. And I brought one of those trays here to show you. This is what it puts the soil into. Okay. So the cost for this machine is $10,251. The immediate benefit that we'll see from implementing the soil mixer into our production line is streamlined plant production at 4 times the speed. Currently, when we're running our planting line, we're able to produce 540 units or plants per hour. With this machine, we'll be able to produce 2,160 units per hour. The long-term benefits that we'll see are faster plant growth, higher quality plants, less fertilizing, lower cost per unit, cleaner, less dusty work environment. So this machine really gives us the opportunity to streamline our production, create more plants, and serve more gardens locally and around the country, as well as improve inventory shortfalls and keep up with our growing demand. And ultimately, take the next steps towards expanding our business. Our goal is to pay back 25% of this grant within the first 2 years with the monthly contribution to help more local businesses have the same opportunity. Thank you so much for your time and for your consideration. If you would like to come out and visit our nursery and see how we do things, I put my contact information up there. We would really love to have you anytime. Thank you. I'm excited to answer your question.
I have a quick question. Do you have a background in marketing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because you mentioned your website during it as an e-commerce company. That's important. And then you have it again. I think that's wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
So maybe you can go into a little bit of detail for the audience, because I found this fascinating when we talked before, that you're shipping all of the plants of varying sizes up to 6 feet. So
Yes.
the first thing I thought of when I heard that is there's got to be some difficulty. So maybe you could share with the audience just kind of how you go through that and shipping everything.
I would love to do that, yeah. So we have our own fulfillment center at our nursery in Winter Haven. We use 100% plastic-free, recyclable, compostable shipping materials in our packing situation. And so here's one of our plants right here. This is our medium size. We offer a range of sizes from small, this is medium, to extra large. And we ship those with those plastic-free shipping materials. We secure everything into our boxes, and we ship it out daily via USPS Priority. Everything arrives very safely and securely. It gets there within 1 to 3 days, so there really aren't any issues. We also ship year-round. We use heat packs in the winter, and we monitor the weather when we need to.
Your sales, are they primarily new customers, returning customers, or an equal mix of both?
That's a great question. It's a pretty good mix of both. Our returning customer rate fluctuates because we have a lot of new customers, especially this time of year. But right now we're sitting at about 37 to 43% returning customers.
What's kind of the next, so this obviously helps you expand and kind of gain efficiency and those sorts of things, but what's the next bottleneck you anticipate after you get past this one?
Well, we are going to need more space. So this is definitely going to help us increase our production, and our turnaround is getting really quick. I mean, it's going to help us keep up with our growing demand. But the next step is to have a larger space for all of this production. So a larger property, more greenhouses. And ultimately, we would love to open a garden center here in Lakeland.
And then so you have a newsletter, 32,000 subscribers, I think it said that you send that to.
And growing.
Any plans for a partnership with, maybe a juice company or a local something that you would be able to advertise with, partner with, through the newsletter and all the subscribers that are constantly growing?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to partner with local companies and other companies to get the word out there a little bit more. But I mean, right now, our marketing is working really well. Definitely the next thing that I want to do is have more community involvement. We have 33,000, almost 34 now by the time after I finish this presentation, newsletter subscribers. We reach people through Google Ads and just through our website. Most of our traffic comes from direct search to our website. Okay, thank you all so much.
All right. I mean, how about those pictures? I've never seen a plant look so pretty, honestly. I have no idea what the heck that is either. Or what are those, Brittany, that you brought? Oh, hold on. The live streamers.
Oh, no, okay. Okay, so I did bring some banana trees for everybody right here. Oh, while supplies last. There's a few there. I wanted to show how many individual plants that we can grow in one tray. So as you can imagine, like that number will drastically increase as our production increases. But I did bring a little plant gift. It's a banana tree.
Nice. And I don't know if you guys know, but I didn't until the closed door session. There's something called an ice cream banana, something called an apple banana. And so what she said is they sell fruit that tastes like other fruit. And I'm just like, what? So that's crazy. I don't know what to think about it, but maybe look up our website or something. I'm going to. All right. So the last company we have pitching tonight is our student company from Florida Polytechnic. So I don't know, most of you probably know, Florida Poly is out there on I-4, and they have some students that are doing some crazy cool things, and we get to have 3 of them here with us today. So they are pitching for, like I said earlier, up to $2,500, and they're a lot more earlier stage in their company. So just get that into your brain, and then we're gonna let them go. Hey guys. All right, so here's this.
Hello, everybody. Most of us know that Tesla dominates the electric car market, and because of their success and popularity, other car companies have started offering electrical vehicles as well. And as a result of that, we have seen an increase in. Can you hold the microphone up to your mouth? Oh, sorry. Is this? Okay. Longboard manufacturers have also started to offer electrical longboards as well. And we noticed a problem with this. The problem is that with the greater speeds and that longboards can do, the only way that you can control this is with remote control. And remote controls they're not intuitive. They can be dropped very easily. And the problem that we see that we can solve is with this. Hi, my name is David. This is Kevin and Aaron. And that's the problem that we're here to solve. So what we're doing is we are developing a gesture control glove that will be able to allow our customers to safely control their longboards when they're using them. The reason why we're doing this is because our research shows that approximately 7 million people in the US use skateboards and longboards for transportation. And as the manufacturers for longboards start increasing the number of longboards they make that are electric, this number will only rise. Electric longboards cost on average between $600 and $2,000 and are approximately 2 to 3 times faster. And this speed really is where the problem that we really see is because they're going so fast. And I'm not sure if any of you ever seen anybody on an electric longboard or skateboard, but they typically do not wear safety equipment. So there's a much greater risk of injury if they were to fall. So again, our problem that we see here is that by providing an intuitive, safe gesture control device, the people that use these longboards will be able to safely use them. I'm gonna pass it over to Kevin.
Our proposed solution to that is what we call the Dex Glove. The Dex Glove is a wearable glove form factor device that incorporates onboard motion processing. That is a motion sensor on the back of your hand and an onboard computer that takes the raw data that it outputs and interprets it as gestures. Now, all of that sensor technology and computing power is packed into a low profile and durable design that's capable of withstanding impact. Because you're riding a skateboard or a longboard, you fall off, you potentially damage it, but that it won't be an issue with our design. And these controls, instead of interacting with a remote, which in the heat of the moment, if you're riding a longboard going 30 miles an hour right next to some fast-moving car, you might lose control of it because those buttons are not intuitive, whereas gesture controls are. And this entire device is designed with longboarding in mind. And I'll pass you off to Aaron to discuss how that faces off against our competitors.
So some of our competitors include Maestro Glove and Just. Just like our competitors, our glove has motion control sensors, which is essential for understanding gestures made by users. However, what distinguishes us from our competitors are features that are specifically tailored for longboard control. So, for example, like Kevin mentioned earlier, users may crash or collide with hard surfaces, and so our glove's very durable design is able to withstand those. Also, our glove is able to track distances traveled by the user and any travel metrics such as places visited or frequently visited places and favorite locations. And last but not least, our glove is capable of recognizing gestures specifically customized by the user, and this is especially important when you're in motion because typically with a gesture-controlled glove, the user is stationary. And so this is how we plan to make money. We hope to generate revenue through direct sales to consumers, and we hope our product is going to be around $200 with estimated cost of goods sold to be $50, which leaves us at a profit margin of 75%. And so we know it takes a good team to go the distance, and here's ours.
My name is David Terry. I have operations and project management experience, and I'm a developer and designer for the engineer, and I'm a computer engineer major.
All right, I'm Aaron Apigo. I am the team's computer scientist. I am specializing in programming and software development, and I am the team's software developer.
And I'm, of course, Kevin Ractu. I'm a computer engineering major, but my expertise focuses more on hardware design and electrical development. And I'm a hardware designer and developer at Dex. And with the combination of our experience, this is what we've been able to do thus far. We've put together an actual proof of concept prototype. This prototype takes raw motion data, as I said, and feeds it into an onboard computer processor, which interprets these as gestures and allows you to control other electronics. We've put together a basic website platform, and we have completed basic customer discovery. So what we have planned next is we need to further test the component performance on the device and complete functional software for it so that it's capable of doing more, and so we can test its capabilities in the context of longboarding. And we need to refine our hardware choices to make sure that the hardware we're packing into this is up to that task, and we need to do the same with our software. We also need to interface and test this specifically with a longboard rather than other electronics, and we need to improve our marketing and outreach so that we have users who are willing to test this. And in order to do all of these tasks, these are the resources that we need. And that's why we're here today, asking for $2,500 so that we'll be able to complete these tasks. So we'll be able to prove that this device is capable of helping people in a lucrative way using our gesture control technology. And once we've done that, once we've established that foothold in this market, the sky is the limit, because there is so much potential for gesture control technology in fields as simple as controlling smartphones and computers, robotic arms, and more accurately and easily flying drones. So thank you so much for your time and consideration, and we'll be happy to field any questions you have for us.
So how does it work? I mean, explain to me what gesture control, how would you control a longboard using it?
Okay, in the context specifically of a longboard, suppose you wanted to speed up or slow down. This would be as simple as moving your hand in one direction. So rather than pressing a button, I want to go forward, I move my hand slightly forward and it speeds up just a tad. You want to speed it up more, you move it at a slightly higher angle. It moves faster, or the opposite direction to slow it down. That sort of thing.
So what is it obviously has a whole lot of applications beyond just longboarding. That's your beachhead into a market. What's kind of the next application that most excites you all after that?
I would say computer and smartphone technology, because specifically this is one that has been explored recently by a lot of major corporations. Google, in their Pixel 4 device, incorporated gesture technology where you have to raise your phone up in front of your face and then wave your hand around to control the thing, which is not practical. It uses optical sensors, which can easily be blocked or influenced by other objects. So wearing a glove would be a much better application of technology for that.
Got it. And then my next question would be is why do you win in those other markets with those major players and those sorts of things? Maybe not. Why do you win the market in those other areas?
Why do we win the market, you said? As I said, the application of onboard motion processing rather than the optical solutions that other competitors would be pursuing, it cannot be interfered with far as easily as optical sensors. The technology we're using allows us to control any device that it's connected to up to 10 meters wirelessly through Bluetooth technology, which every modern electronic is packed with. Cars, smartphones, computers, name it.
I'd like to add something. What's important here, though, is that we want to start with the longboards because it gives us a chance to really perfect the product. This stuff is great, but that is really down the road. For right now, we're going to really work on this market It's a big market. There's a lot of people that are using them, and that market's only growing.
Yeah, and I do want to just add, I think that it's awesome that you all are kind of starting with kind of a small beachhead and a small use case and kind of expanding from there. That's great. I would also encourage y'all to look for some way to kind of add some sort of subscription or recurring kind of component to it, because you don't want to just be a hardware company as you kind of build it out and go forward. So.
And one more quick thing I'd like to add, that when Kevin was addressing like moving faster, this gentleman here, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, about being able to move faster or stop it. I mean, obviously it's not just going to be just your hand. There'll be a button or something that you can activate, but it's not going to be something that you have to manipulate. One of the things that we're attempting to do now is with the grip. So you'll be able to activate it by squeezing your hand, and then you can access it, and you'll be able to turn that off again, so then you can wave to somebody and not cause issues with the board as when you're moving at 30 miles an hour or whatever. Exactly. So we're thinking of this. It's not something that we're ignoring.
And then for the longboard, is it every longboard can be programmed to your glove, or you'd have to buy a specific glove for one specific longboard?
No.
Most electric longboards and skateboards on the market right now use either infrared communications like a TV remote or something similar to Bluetooth. So in that case, we should be able to design this so that it can be paired with virtually any longboard. But these are all things that we hope to be able to test with further funding, further resources.
I just want to say, I think it's a great product. Coming as a mom into this, I think there's a whole nother market besides the user. There's also the parent to make sure that the user is safe. So focusing on the safety features, I think would really open things up.
Thank you. That is something that we're hoping to address. The fact that this is one of the main objectives of this device is to make people safer.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Thanks. All right, so this is the portion where the judges will grab their things and leave to deliberate. All the finalists, if you could send one representative per group, that would be super ideal. Come up here and grab a stool and then bring that up here. And this is your time for everybody to ask your questions. So if you're joining us online, you can throw those in the chat. If you're joining us in person, you can use your voice. But I, for one, am super glad to hear that there's a voice or a button to activate that glove, because I just was picturing myself wiping out when I went to just like, you lose your balance once and then you speed up more. It's just the whole thing. Steve said, that was me telling that story to see if I was brave enough to say the thing that I'm about to say, but Steve Scruggs came up to me over there and said, if you're really brave, you'd say, and I was like, I'm not that brave, but I am. I'm going to say it. He said, if you're really brave, you'd say, what happens when you flick somebody off? So that's something to consider. He knows me well. Sometimes I got to do that. So we're going to bring up the finalists. If you guys could just grab kind of every other, bring up some on this side so the live stream can see you. If you guys could just, each of you grab a microphone kind of. All right. All right, I'm going to leave and go with the judges. I'm going to tell some jokes, get them in a good mood, so hopefully we get some more money.
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. Perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie, and I get to be the kitchen director here at Catapult. And we're going to move into the question and answer section here, so let's just make sure everyone has a seat. All right, I'm going to grab one as well. Okay, so how this is going to go, let's just start off here with kind of one of the first questions, and we'll just go down the line with how can we, as your Catapult community, support your business right now? So I'm going to pass the mic to Chase, and then we're just going to go right down the line. All right.
Thank you, Maggie. Yeah, as a business in Lakeland, and why I've actually really excited to be back in Lakeland after a year of kind of working abroad, but it's probably for us would be just referrals, just understanding, like getting us in the room with some decision makers who maybe have a hazard work environment or workplace, or even a use case that we can kind of come and test and kind of play with. So that would really help us out.
Awesome. All right, Ruth.
I think Catapult has helped me way more than I deserve. So I just want to say thank you for Catapult, and just the support I get from everyone, every staff member. It's amazing, and people here are amazing. They're always there to encourage you. So I'm very grateful to be here.
Wonderful. Yes, I will go with that as well. We wouldn't be where we are today without Catapult, so thank you. And Maggie in the kitchen, she's always been there, and we are so thankful for that. But also just continue to be a part of the community with the classes that you're going to continue to have. Those have always been helpful for us, and you're doing some packaging classes. We're going to want to do those as well.
Thank you so much. Catapult is really such an amazing resource, and Lakeland is one of the friendliest places in the world that I've ever been. So I would say the best way that you can help us is to start your own garden at home. Start gardening, start planting fruit trees, come to some of our workshops, and we would love to help you get started on your growing journey.
I think that the thing that we would appreciate the most from the community is feedback. We want to know the kinds of things that you all would like in a product like this, things that you think would contribute most to users of our product. We want to know what you think of our idea, all the things that would benefit someone who uses it, and all the things that we've already implemented that might be a drawback. And that would be incredibly beneficial to us because we're in such early stages of developing our device that there's a lot to change. There's a lot to learn from. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'd love to go ahead and open the floor to some questions. For our folks online, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the question so we make sure that we capture that in our sound system. So does anyone want to kick us off with an audience question? All right, Joshua, right here. All right, great question. So the question is, are you going to kind of focus on one industry and really kind of focus on that one and repeat the process in that industry, or kind of go after a wide range of industries?
Great. Yeah, thank you. As much as I like putting myself in those dangerous situations to get the clip, right now where the money's at really is to help us grow. We have a really good connection with mining and within the phosphate industry right now, and being in Central Florida, that's great. So we're targeting that. But we definitely have other areas that we want to work in. And, whether it's construction is a big one, but another area that I'm really passionate about, I kind of want to look at more would be first responder training, so whether it's some sort of easy kind of material we can put together that's low cost to an organization. But yeah, right now it's really, we have that foot in the door, so we're going to run that as far as we can.
Awesome. All right, other questions from the audience? Yes, Jeff, what's your question? Great question, Jeff. Okay, so the question is, as you're brewing your kombucha, how do you know that it is achieving the levels of prebiotics that you're looking for your customers?
Oh, I love this. Love to talk about this, even though, like Kristen was like, I don't ever want to see a mother SCOBY again. But yet, kombucha is actually 2,000 years old. Actually, they say it's from China, but also some say from Japan. So there's kind of a little argument there. But it is natural. Well, natural doesn't really mean a lot today, but probiotics in the SCOBY, which is, it's SCOBY, which is symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. In the top of our tanks, we have the very thick one that you saw in there. And as the process of the first ferment in the glass containment tanks, anywhere from, well, depending on temperature, 10 to 14 days is the first ferment. And because of that time, the pH changes. So we're doing testing all along the way and checking for that drop to, it's essentially a vinegar, and we flavor the vinegar. That's why it's so healthy. not apple cider vinegar, it is made from tea. So that's how we know the drop is in there. And then of course you kind of saw the strings that come down, that's the beneficial yeasts in there. And so as we take them from the tanks into the kegs, part of that is coming with it. It's not like the whole piece or anything, but that's kind of permeated within that tea. So knowing that it is, throughout has that yeast and those bacterias in there. And then we ferment it again in the tank, and then we ferment it again in cold storage as well. So it's alive, and it stays in there until it gets to you and your gut.
All right, wonderful. Other questions? Yes, Adam in the back.
Yes.
So Wendy, the question was, what is the address of your new kombucha brewery?
So it'll be at 1030 South Florida Avenue. If you know where the kind of Dixieland Mall is, where like Balance Culture and Concord Coffee will be directly across the street in the third retail space.
We can't wait to visit. Okay, other questions? I think I see one from Grace in the back. Yes.
I can.
Okay, so we're going to do this as a down the line question. So we had a question from online. Steve Webster asked, any tips to, oh man, wow, remembering these questions is hard. Any tips to manage your work-life balance as an entrepreneur? So Chase, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
You're doing great, Maggie. And I'm the last person you want to ask about that because I'd rather go wakeboarding than work. So get up early, do something active, get your blood flowing, get going.
All right, great answer. Root.
I think there is no right answer to this question because there is no work and life balance. You either work or you choose life. And I think the best way to go for this, make your work your life, kind of make that your mission so you can do it while you are enjoying your life.
Yes, organization. With 3 ferments, we definitely have to have a system, and we have that in place. But like Rit said, that I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work, and definitely just organize and time management and overall.
This is a tough one. I'm going to answer kind of in the same vein as Root and Wendy did. Like, I love what I do, and sometimes it's really hard to walk away from that. I could stay up until midnight just working, but at one point you have to put the screen down. So my biggest thing would say, just try to organize your time and put the screen down, because you're not going to be as productive as you really want to be when you're exhausted from overworking. So definitely just it's great to love what you do and get to spend your time doing that. I feel so grateful for that every single day. But at the end of the day, turn the phone off and spend time with people that you love and talk to your friends. You got one?
I'm probably a little bit underqualified to be answering this question. Since one, I'm still a student while trying to juggle this entrepreneurial endeavor. And two, because if you'll ask any of the members of my team, they'll tell you I have a tendency to spend an unhealthy amount of time behind this project whenever I get caught up in it. But as some of the others have said, I do find it to just be extremely important to just know your limits, to know that whenever it's taking so much out of you and distracting you from things in your life that matter, that you need to put the entrepreneurial endeavor aside for a moment and focus on those things, especially your health.
All right, wonderful. Other audience questions? Yes, Justin.
Can you explain any obstacles you guys might have overcame, and how do you guys deal with that?
All right, so Justin asks, can you all explain obstacles that you all overcame and how you overcame them? So to give Chase a break, let's go ahead and start at the end with Kevin and then work our way back this way.
So the question, if I'm correct, were obstacles that we had to overcome, correct?
Yes.
The biggest obstacle I think we had was probably finding the resources, finding people in particular with the know-how to do things that we don't know how to do, because we're all students. One of us is a computer science major and two of us are computer engineering majors. And our solution to that was sort of relating back to my other answer, is to know your limits. When you aren't capable of doing something, when you know that you don't have wisdom to pull something off, to defer that onto someone else, to find someone who has that knowledge. So even though it might be tempting sometimes to sort of try to do everything yourself, one-man army, that doesn't really work. So I think that was perhaps the biggest obstacle we learned to overcome.
All right. Well, obstacles. There's been many in the last 3 years. I would probably say even starting back when we came to Catapult in the kitchen first time, that trying to get permits and finding just space. Part of that is our product, is very susceptible to temperature, because we talked about in the basement, because we never brewed here. We were in the basement at the other building. And so temperature was huge. It was freezing in that basement. And so I think our first scope, not to be gross, but we lost our first SCOBY because it was so cold. It needs to be about 75 degrees. So we did get some mold in that, but we persevered and here we are. But that's a big thing with kombucha. It's contamination, temperature, and of course the air quality. But we overcame it. We're about to get our own location and we can definitely control that better. Because like right now we do share. We have shared all of this time, even at Catapult, that other products, whether, flour or things like that, we have lots of ways to keep, it not contaminated. And then little bugs love kombucha. So that's another thing. It's fruit flies. And in the kitchen, you're going to have fruit. So that has definitely, been a huge obstacle. And we have learned many ways to deal with that.
Well, you're going to have a lot of obstacles no matter what you do. If you don't have it, people are going to throw obstacle at you. So the only way to overcome that is just stack them on each other and use that as a staircase and try to overcome them. Yeah.
All right. Yes. All right.
And I'm going to say Kevin's also smarter than his age. I think he's more brilliant with his experience. He's got it. So, and Justin, that softball question, man, you've done everything under the sun, right? Like you tell us. I think for me, it's been getting out of my own way and not procrastinating. Deadlines have become my greatest friend. It's never going to be perfect, and nobody else is going to recognize the few mistakes that you may pick out of it every time. So.
All right. Wonderful. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions online? Yes, Michelle. Yes. All right, so we have a question online for Root, and it's, what are the most interesting places that you've flown drones?
I've been to this work. Before I came to America, I never really had a chance to travel anywhere. But as soon as I started my business, I got to see some coolest places in America. I went to 25 different states in just 2 years. And by going up there, I think the best place to visit and fly the drones and do the work was California, the whole Highway 101, the coast. And also, every place you go, it's something unique about that place. So I don't have any favorite place, but all of them are really good and they all teach you different things.
Wonderful. All right. We are going to go ahead and take a short break here. So if you all haven't had a chance, we have kombucha and veggies and empanadas out in our lobby. Go ahead and take a restroom break, and then we'll reconvene when it's time to announce the results. Thank you so much.
Hello? Okay, everybody, if you could grab a seat or just like, you can keep standing if you want, but look up here. Thank you. Josh is ready. I mean, we have important information to deliver, so like, we want you to be able to hear it. Okay. Everyone settled? Everyone good? Okay. All right. So basically, I don't have anything else to say other than thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm going to bring up the judges to give you their answers. These are the logos of the people who sponsor this event. So can we just give them one more round of applause? Wouldn't be here without them. All right. Who's doing the honors? Come on up. Man, this is tense.
First of all, I think all the judges, we would like to say congratulations to all 5 presenters. We realize that you had the unfun task of coming in the room with us beforehand and doing the presentation. We realize that's nerve-wracking, and we thank you for doing that and for that everyone else would have had the opportunity to learn tonight. So with that being said, we would like to announce congratulations to all those that pitched tonight. We will be funding. So the request, we've actually talked to the parties beforehand. So thank you for your hard work, and we look forward to seeing this capital go to good use. So thank you for all you've done tonight, and thank you for your pitches.
Everybody's getting money, so there you go, hot dog. So if you presented tonight, if you could come up and take a celebratory picture with the very large check, that would be super great. And thank you all for coming. I hope you have a great day knowing that there's, $37,500 more in the entrepreneurs in Lakeland. Woohoo! See you later.
Okay, well, the whole mic.
Good feedback on the square. What do you want me to say?
Where you are is great.
Really? I don't feel like I've been framed.
Well, do one and then.
Okay. I want with me.
Okay, guys, ready?
Maybe one quick one.
All right, and the judges, please.
I'll get in for the crazy one. Sure.
Everybody?